What's up, guys? Pete back here. Welcome back to the Pete Freezy Bowling channel. Today we're going to be talking about bowling misconceptions and misconceptions regarding your equipment. As always, guys, thanks for tuning in. Hit that like button, hit the sub button, the notification bell, and let's see if we can debunk some common bowling misconceptions. Alright guys, so like I said, we're going to be talking about a bowling misconception here today, a very common bowling misconception. When I was younger, this was a common thing that I thought, and nowadays, now that I understand my equipment better, I understand that what I used to think was not quite the right idea anymore. So as you can see, I got two Storm bowling balls here. I've got my Storm Alpha Crux and my Storm High Road X. So I've got arguably one of the stronger bowling balls in my bag in the Alpha, and then I've got the High Road, which is a significantly weaker bowling ball. Both bowling balls are solid cover bowling balls, but other than that, that's basically their only similarity. I got the Alpha, which is a really strong cover and a really strong core. And then I've got the High Road, which is a much weaker cover and a much weaker core. So the misconception, and again, I used to believe this too when I was younger until I started to really start to understand equipment better. If you handed me these bowling balls when I was younger, you told me, hey, the Alpha is the strongest ball of the two. My mindset back then, and what probably a lot of you guys think about with bowling balls, is so the bowling ball is stronger, so you're thinking it's gonna really boom and really shape off the back of the pattern and into the pins. You think it's gonna have that big hockey stick shape, it's really gonna boom, and it's really gonna hook a lot. So yes, the ball is stronger and it is going to hook a lot, but the idea of a stronger bowling ball hooking more down lane just really isn't correct anymore. So when we're talking a stronger bowling ball, and again, we don't necessarily think about a left to right movement now anymore, we think of a front to back. So a stronger bowling ball is going to hook earlier and hook sooner, so that's more of a front to back read as compared to a left to right. So we're going to see the Alpha Crux hook much earlier and be a little bit less down lane, but just because it's less down lane doesn't mean that it's not a strong bowling ball. And then we're going to have the High Road X here. It's a weaker bowling ball. So if you guys would have thought, well, hey, the High Road X is weaker, it's not going to shape at all down lane, that's not the case either. It's a much weaker bowling ball. It's going to float through the front a little bit more compared to the Alpha Crux, but because it's got that extra stored potential energy in the ball, that ball is then going to shape more left to right as compared to where the Alpha isn't going to shape as much left to right. But again, because we're talking about the strengths of the balls, we're all talking about them more front to back and not left to right. And I'll have two pretty ugly looking pictures here, but for the eye, it's really hard to see it if you don't have what a lot of us call the bowling eye. If you don't have that bowler's eye, it's really hard sometimes to see the motion, but hopefully these clips here can kind of show you guys just how much sooner the stronger ball and the Alpha reads, and just how a little bit longer and how a little bit shapier the High Road X goes, being the weaker bowling ball. So again, we'll have the two really ugly pictures here, don't judge me on them, and then we'll take it up to Brock's Bowl. I've got a little bit of a transition shot out there, and we're going to go see the difference between a stronger bowling ball and a weaker bowling ball, and kind of debunk the misconception of stronger bowling balls hooking harder left or right. So let's go check it. Alright guys, so that was our first group of shots there with the alpha and the high road, and seeing what different parts of the lanes these bowling balls actually hook and when they start to hook, and just how they shape. And I kind of hope you guys really saw that, because me in my eye, I could see that. Hopefully the swirls of the alpha crux helped you see it too. I think it was pretty clear that the alpha definitely started to hook a lot sooner. If you guys really pay attention to the swirls of the ball and look at the colors of it, I feel like you can see that ball really start to change direction, almost just a little bit past the arrows, whereas say the high road X, and I was playing the same part of the lane for that group of shots, the high road, in my opinion and in my eye, definitely looked to get through the spot a little bit cleaner. So then since it got through the spot a little bit cleaner, the ball then starts to come off the back of the pattern. It has more energy, so then it's able to shape more left to right, compared to where the alpha used its energy up sooner because it's stronger, and it didn't quite shape quite as much. Both still looked really good, but again, the look really isn't necessarily what we're looking for. I just wanted to show you guys the difference in reaction. And then we're going to start to bump a little bit further left here in these next group of shots. Now, because I'm going to start chasing it left, we're going to start to see the bowling ball start to react a lot differently, because we got the weaker ball in the high road. That ball is going to look good if I can get it out to the friction, because again, being the weaker ball, it needs the friction in order to get through the pins properly. Whereas the alpha is probably going to start to look a little bit better, because I'm going to start to hit a little bit more oil, and again, that ball being stronger, it's really going to need that oil to not lose all of its energy because it's hooking so early. So again, we're going to start chasing it left here, and we're going to see the difference between the two. Does it there. I think those final group of shots were pretty telling, and it was pretty much kind of what I figured would have happened. I could get the high road to look good, but I really had to make sure that I got it right and into the friction, because again, being that weaker ball, it needed the friction to be able to get through the spot and then have the energy to shape off the pattern. It really needed that extra friction in order to shape. You guys saw it. If I missed in with it, it just kind of bailed because there was just a little too much oil. and the ball just wasn't quite strong enough to pick up early enough and then to get through the spot. Whereas the Alpha really thrived with all that extra oil in the middle of the lane when I got left. I was able to keep it in the oil. It revved up at the perfect time because it had that oil to help the ball not burn out. So that extra heavier oil got the ball to get through like it needed to. It picked up nice and early like it needed to, and then it came off the pattern really nice. But again, it came off much more of a rounded shape compared to the X, where the X kind of, when it did want to shape, it wanted to jam more. But again, because of the strengthness differences, the Hyro just couldn't quite compare or compete with the oil if I got it into the oil. And then the Alpha, again, it was much more of a front to back motion, much more of a front to back read. So again, when you guys are thinking about getting your equipment, and if you guys are talking to your pro shop guys, or if you're thinking or reading online about bowling balls and they're telling you this is the strongest bowling ball, try to keep in mind that just because we're calling it the strongest bowling ball doesn't mean that you're going to see a real always left to right motion. When we're talking about strength, we're talking about front to back. So we're going to be talking about that ball reading sooner, reading the pattern sooner, and then because it does that, it's going to be a much more rounded shape typically. This is all also situational depending on what patterns you're bowling on, what conditions you're on, what lane surfaces you're on, what surfaces you got on the bowling balls. But again, I have the same layouts on these bowling balls. I hit them both with the same surface. So really the only difference is just the overall dynamics of the ball. And where you can see that the stronger ball, much earlier, much less back end, weaker ball, a lot longer, much more back end. So as always guys, thanks for tuning in. If you guys want to see another bowling misconception video, I could try to put another one together for you guys. Make sure to hit that like button. If you guys haven't yet, hit the sub button, hit the notification bell so you get notified when I post. Hopefully I'll have a couple more videos for you guys. I just got a piece back in my bag that I'm really excited. I think I'll do a comparison with another piece I got that I never got to do. So stay tuned for that. As always guys, Pete Freezy here. Peace.